We're joined by Chicago State head men's basketball coach Tracy Dildy. Coach, can you just start out with your overall thoughts on what you're expecting out of your team this year?
First of all, I'd like to just thank God for this opportunity. Again, I think it's a blessing. I get to work with our young people on a daily basis and have some type of influence over their life. So I'm definitely thankful and grateful for that. As we go into this season, I'm excited just about the group of young men that we're working with. We lost a lot of guys from last year. We lost 8 seniors, 5 of them being major factors on a team that finished 500 in the conference last year, with it being our first year in the conference. So that was a good thing. But the guys that we're working with now, I think they got a hunger in them that I hadn't seen around a group in a long time. And these guys are excited to kind of prove something. And so we feel good about that. We got a lot of depth. This year, you're going to probably see us, play 10, maybe 11 guys each night. So real excited about the depth and being able to do some things this year that we wasn't allowed to do because we didn't have enough bodies to do it. And so, we're going to play a real fun style. We're going to probably try to press the whole night. And so excited about just, the energy that our guys are going to bring to the crowd, to us having some success. So really, really got a great group. At the end of the year, you guys are going to be like, wow, that was a really good group of guys.
Coach, what's your perception of the WAC as a league and how it stacks up on a national scale?
Hey, and just, coaching 20-plus years and being in several different conferences, I believe when you talk about the WAC, it's right there in the top 10, top 12 conferences in the country. I've really liked just how it has been able to sustain over the years. And, way back in '85, I actually played in the WAC when I was at San Diego State, and just to see it still, keeping its name, keeping its respect, keeping its credibility. It's a major conference, and we are fortunate and we are thankful to be a part of such a prestigious conference like this.
Having been at some bigger conference schools, some SEC schools, what's the biggest difference from those conferences to the WAC? How do you compare it in that way?
One of the things is money. And me being now a head coach versus being an assistant coach in those conferences. But when you talk about competitiveness, the competitiveness is the same. Maybe not the level of the player is not, but when you talk about being competitive, when you're talking about being well coached, when you talk about having some of the finest student athletes, it measures right up there when you talk about the SEC, the Conference USA, any other conference I've been associated with.
Now, the last couple of years, the way you guys can run practices has changed in terms of the off season and in terms of the run up to the year. Has that made a big difference for you guys?
I think it's been big across the board and across the country because it just gives you more access to your student athletes. And the more access you have to them, I think the better it is that you're involved and you're a part of their life a lot longer now versus in the past when you had so many restrictions. So it has helped, just the whole game of college basketball.
In your perception, does it lead to a better team or better play?
Yes, it has. It has really, because now you get to develop and get to work with the guys, and it's proven guys are made and players are developed in the summer and in the off season. So that's been huge that you've been able to kind of work with them guys on an individual basis versus everything just being a team group. And I tell, and other coaches will tell you, guys get better in the off season.
Coach, based on the preseason polls from the media and the coaches, you guys are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. So do you think you're going to take that as motivation, maybe share that with your players, kind of play with a little bit more hunger? And you also are starting the season playing Arizona State and Creighton, who both went to the Big Dance last year. So do you feel like that's going to be a pretty good measuring stick for your team? What do you expect from your team in those first games?
Well, one thing about it, losing 8 seniors and losing the seniors that we lost last year, we was expected that the media and people would pick us at the bottom. But we got the type of guys that, they're going to use that as a motivation themselves. These guys got a chip on their shoulder that I hadn't seen in a long time, and they want to prove, people wrong. And so we're excited about that opportunity that we get to, come night in and night out and say, hey, this is where you guys were picked. What are you going to do about it? And I know they're going to respond. What has been kind of my philosophy is always to kind of toughen up your non-conference schedule so it can prepare you for your conference schedule. And when you talk about back-to-back playing 2 teams that went to the NCAA tournament, and if you just kind of go through our schedule, we also got 3 teams that's ranked in the top 10 in the mid-major pool. So, I think it can do nothing but help us. And if we just fortunate enough to go get one or maybe a couple of those wins, when you talk about Notre Dame being on that schedule, you talk about DePaul being on that schedule, talking about still playing Wisconsin Green Bay, who should have been a tournament team, and Toledo, who should have been a tournament team last year. You right there, you talk about 6 possible NCAA tournament teams. And so if you can go in there and you can go get a couple of those games, and now you're going to get everybody around the country kind of going to take notice and be like, wow. And we kind of want that reaction out of people. We want a wow reaction out of people this year.
Coach, last year there were the rule changes in terms of block charges and some of the hand-checking stuff on defense. Looking back a year later, what's your kind of review of those changes and how they affected the game?
Well, it was kind of what coaches thought. At the beginning, they will be calling like that, but if you really kind of just saw as the season went on, they got real lax and loose with those calls, and it went back to the old ways. And so we know when they make those changes, they just test them out for the early part. And early on last year, that kind of, it kind of hurt us a little bit because we like to play a little aggressive, and the fouls that they was calling, it kind of took us out of kind of our normal comfort zone of really trying to get after people and really trying to pressure them. But I think, they came up with a solution for this upcoming season, and it's going to work in our favor where we'll get to play, really like we like to play. So, but anything that can help make the game better, I'm all for it.
Maybe it suits you guys better to have the rules be more lax in that way, but do you think the sport is better off one way or the other?
Yeah, well, I think it has been better because, I'm all about finesse, but I thought our game over here has gotten too finesse when they was calling those calls earlier. And I think, if you poll a lot of the college coaches, they want to be a little more physical. And I think, the officials have gotten that message from the coaches and from the players. And so I think now it got into a happy medium where they're not going to let you be over-aggressive, but they are going to let you, play a little physical.
This question actually came from a fan on Twitter. Is it getting any easier recruiting high school players since you guys joined the WAC?
Hey, it's been a major, major factor for us, and it has helped our recruiting tremendously by being affiliated with the WAC. I'm talking about, the WAC has been a big recruiting pitch for us, and that's the way we start off all our recruiting, is letting them know, hey, now we're in the Western Athletic Conference. We have our opportunity to go play for an NCAA tournament bid, and so this has been God sent, and it has helped tremendously.
Your 4th place finish in the WAC last year was a school record for the highest finishing in a conference in your Division I history. What do you need to do to continue to climb the standings?
Well, what I think is what helped us last year have a 500 conference record, and I got to put this plug in. Not only that, but it was us, and it was only one other Division I in the state of Illinois who did not have a losing conference record. And so, and we got to use that. But I think a lot had to do with the year before where we had won the the Great West Conference tournament and went to the postseason tournament, and we just kind of build off that, and we're still just building and just finishing, at 500 last year. That's something we want to build off. We want to have, even a better conference record this season, and we want to do better than we did, last season. So everything is just a building block for us.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys, and God be the glory.